Howdy, howdy, howdy. My name is Anachi Sasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the last episode, we covered, these dudes. And in this episode, we're going to start with the thought broadcasting patient. And what I'm going to do this time is, in the event that I finish the 5 that I'm planning on doing before the video hits 40 minutes, I'm going to keep going. And then I'll stop there, and I'll continue from there, because sometimes they're short enough that I could have done more than 5. And if there's 4,000 of these, I really need to step it up a bit to get through them quicker. Because if I want to do as many as possible before October, I'm moving at kind of a snail's pace here. So, there's the thoughts broadcasting patient. And they're safe, apparently. SCP-41 is to be hospitalized at Bioresearch Area 12. Though not Keter class, should 41's abilities ever propagate beyond a reasonably containable area, the risk of SCP-sensitive information being broadcast to the public remains too great a risk and warrants area-level isolation away from the general populace. SCP personnel wanting to keep their thoughts private are advised to remain outside a 15-meter radius from 41, beyond the designated red circle on the floor. It is beneficial to the mental health of 41 to have a sitter in the room who watches television and concentrates on its programming. This allows 41 to effectively watch television through the mind of someone else. The optimal sitter is a Class D personnel with below average intelligence, whose mind does not wander or have more than one train of thought at a time. Though not mind control, 41 has used its abilities to coerce sitters into watching programming that they themselves don't enjoy. 41's tastes vary between gore slasher films, having even expressed an interest in snuff, and children's programming. So, 41 is a male human suffering from irreversible damage to his central nervous system, which is believed to have been caused by an infection of a rare strain of bacterial meningitis. Although antibiotics were successful in clearing the infection, the membranes surrounding his brain and spinal cord had reacted to the infection by severing many neurons connecting the central nervous system to the rest of the body. 41 must rely on a respirator to sustain his breathing, a biventricular pacemaker to keep his heart beating, and a nasogastric tube to provide nutrition. Visually, 41 appears to be in a persistent vegetative state. However, observers in the presence of 41 begin to realize that their thoughts, along with everyone else's in about a 10-meter radius from 41, are broadcast in a semi-audible fashion. Aside from being the source, 41 is also capable of broadcasting his own thoughts to those present. Anyone forming an idea using words will have those thoughts unwillingly transmitted to others in this range as mind-audible speech, which cannot be recorded by any known equipment. Correction, see Addendum 1. Mind-audible speech may be heard, using whatever voice the subject chooses to think with. Most typically, this is the subject normal voice, see Document 1. Visual thoughts and images are broadcast as well, but are not received as readily. Images are most effectively transmitted when both the sender and receiver have their eyes closed. The sender concentrates on a single object without environment or background, and the receiver's mind is clear of conscious thoughts. Communication between subjects using visual images, particularly those not rooted in memory but in imagination, is usually difficult. The sender typically has trouble conceiving a highly detailed mental object from a single point of view, while the receiver will often try to fill in the gaps of missing information, ultimately resulting in the receiver seeing a different image from what was sent. The most difficult imagery to be successfully broadcast appears to be a person's face, particularly if the image is one of a person in motion. Although able to transmit his thoughts to others, 41 is not very talkative. Attempts to persuade 41 to divulge any information about his abilities have so far been fruitless. 41 is typically silent and normally will not respond to any direct attempts at communication. However, 41 appears to have a sense of humor as he interjects occasional comments into conversations of others. Addendum 1. While researcher blank blank was taking voice notes using digital audio recorder, a fellow researcher was changing the television in 41's room. While the television was on a channel of static, disembodied voices could be heard filtered through the white noise. Attempts to record mind-audible speech with white noise generators and sound recording equipment have begun to yield modest results, though most audio is garbled and recorded sounds may or may not be voices and are widely left towards individual interpretations. Addendum 2. It has come to my attention that several personnel have used 41 as an ad hoc she likes me not detector. This is one of the most appalling things I've ever heard. Are we safeguarding potentially world-destroying objects, or are we in 3rd grade? There doesn't really seem to be any... Okay. Researchers' notes. You know, the first time I was in that room with Kent and 41, I kept hearing this singing. It was like this little girl's voice singing some kid's song. It wasn't the TV, and it definitely wasn't a radio. It was in our heads, you know? So I think, you know, if I was stuck in bed without anything else to do, I'd sing like a little girl too. And then this voice comes into my head. Hey, it's not me, I don't know that tune. And then old Kent looks at me, gone all white in the face, you know? This event occurred after 239 was placed in a chemically induced coma. Any connection between the two SCPs is currently unconfirmed. So does that mean that whatever SCP-239 was doing that? Because that's kind of interesting. I don't know what it is yet, though. Next up is a formerly winged horse, which is safe. 42 being made to stand through the use of an electrified fence wire. Oh. 42 is currently housed within minimum security paddock 12 at Bioresearch Area 32. An electric fence is minimum? Despite 42's seeming disinclination to attempt escape at this point, security measures must still be maintained at all times. Previous attempts to maintain the health of the ground cover in paddock 12 have failed to date. Despite regular watering, 42's presence leaves the ground parched wherever it treads. As it has not been determined what happens to added water, the program of watering has been discontinued as unnecessary and potentially hazardous to the local water table. Monitoring of local well levels and sampling of the area's waters will be carried out on a weekly basis. Personnel interacting with 42, including any handlers, medical personnel, feeders, and custodial staff, must submit to a thorough search including data redacted, prior to entrance into Paddock 12. Any personnel attempting to smuggle a weapon or an object which can be used as a weapon is to be immediately redacted. Personnel are to undergo psychological screening once per week after interacting in any way with 42. Medical personnel examining the wounds on 42's back are to be closely monitored at all times, lest they attempt to euthanize 42. 42 is an animal believed to be a member of the genus Equus, which I assume is going to mean Pegasus, but I don't know, so let's check. Well, there's the play. There's limousines. Something in an arc of survival evolved. Okay, so Google's not going to tell me. But apparently it's World Environment Day 2017 as of this recording. Cool. Its coat is white in color with some small brown spotting. It stands at 183 centimeters, 18 hands. That's a weird way to measure that. To its withers and weighs 710 kilograms. Its weight has dropped significantly since it's been in Foundation custody, due to both atrophy from lack of physical activity and refusal to eat. The liquid nutrient diet forcibly administered keeps it alive, but it remains emaciated and weak. 42 exhibits 2 large bone protrusions from its back, linked to powerful musculature, now atrophied, throughout its back. These bones end at 37 centimeters from the surface of its back, and they protrude from the skin in open, ragged wounds. To date, no healing has been observed of these wounds, though some clotting must be taking place for 42 to have not bled out. Did I say 32? 42. 42 exhibits a listless demeanor and has been unresponsive to any attempt by skilled handlers to incite activity. If allowed to do so, 42 will lay down on the ground immobile, not moving to eat, drink, or relieve itself. Pain response conditioning has proved somewhat effective in getting 42 to rise so that it can be cleaned, but eventually it will attempt to lay down again no matter the strength of the shock administered, even to the point of losing consciousness. Researchers are divided as to 42's level of intelligence. While some believe it is simply an animal and no smarter than others of its genus, others have come to believe that it may in fact be sapient. It has been shown making eye contact with persons entering Paddock 12, most of whom describe it as its looks as pleading. 42 has been involved in accidents on multiple occasions where it has been injured on pieces of equipment or its enclosure, which those arguing for intelligence believe to have been intentionally caused by 42. Addendum. A request was submitted by Dr. to transfer 42 to Bioresearch Area 4 on blank 19 something, which was approved by 055. Dr. P, somebody, altered transportation documents to indicate that 42 was to be airlifted rather than transported by an armed convoy. During transit, Dr. P overpowered the pilot of the transport aircraft and took the controls, plunging the craft into a steep dive. passengers and cargo experienced nearly a minute of weightlessness before security personnel regained control of the craft and leveled off. As Dr. P was being bound and the plane landed, 42 broke free of containment and kicked 2 security personnel to death in the cargo area. Cargo bay security footage shows that after this point, 42 approached Dr. P and touched his nuzzle to his face. Dr. P exhibited signs of euphoria while contact was maintained, but when additional security personnel subdued 42 with tranquilizer darts and contact was broken, he collapsed into a catatonic state from which he did not recover. After a hearing concerning his actions, Dr. P was euthanized while under Foundation medical care on blank 19-something. Yeah, nothing about that sounds like a safe creature, but okay. So next is the beetle. Is it going to be one of the beetles? It's safe. Oh! 43 requires no special containment, although it is recommended that 43 not be used for purposes other than testing. A turntable is to be maintained in the same room for testing. 43 appears to be a vinyl copy of the White Album by the Beatles. However, upon closer inspection, this record has no grooves. In spite of this, the record will play from start to finish regardless of the starting position of the needle. When the 29th track is reached, instead of playing Revolution 9, the disc stops spinning and faint breathing can be heard. Occasionally, the entity responsible for the breathing will speak in a male voice. The entity will respond to questions and shows a profound encyclopedic knowledge of the music industry, musical theory, and obscure trivia about many bands and artists. However, the entity refuses to answer questions regarding the Beatles or its own personal details. Inside the jacket, a small handwritten note was found reading, "Limited edition, 1 of 1. Thanks, John! XXX. Okay. So now we're at the World War II era molecular fission cannon. I expect this to not be safe. And yet, a constant stream of hydrogen ions, unbound oxygen atoms, and other trace-free radicals emanate from the muzzle of 44 at all times. Because of this, the docking stations of 44 are to be well ventilated to keep dangerous gases and moisture from accumulating. Muzzle coverings are to be fitted at all times to keep birds and small animals from investigating the open barrel of 44. Addendum, blank 2000-something. As 44 has not been involved in any significant incidents in the blank years it has been held at the Foundation, 44 has been reclassified as safe. Okay. 44 is a howitzer, secretly manufactured in the late stages of the Second World War by Krupp engineers. Personally, it's supervised by Albert Speer, German Minister of Armaments and War Production under Adolf Hitler. 44 is unique not only because of its size, which is 250,000 kilograms or 251 metric tons, but also because it fires unconventional artillery using an atypical delivery method. Rather than having a breech for loading shells, the rear of the barrel is configured into a massive air compression chamber. Any object or a pile of objects that fits may be loaded into 44's muzzle to be used as ammunition. Because of its size, 44 must remain rail-mounted and requires 2 freight locomotives to move. Researchers believe that 44 weakens molecular and atomic bonds in any material loaded into its muzzle. However, the method by which 44 affects molecular bonds is not known, due primarily to the numerous complex mechanisms that compose the housing and workings of 44. In fact, some mechanisms appear useless and seem to do nothing other than spin or make noise, even when 44 is not supplied with power. Both equipment and personnel have been lost while exploring the inside of 44's barrel. When 44 is fired, all matter within its barrel is ejected at a high rate of speed as a glowing red slug, proportional in size to the amount of mass loaded into its muzzle. Upon striking a solid object or the ground, the slug explodes with a yield proportional to the mass of the original ammunition at no less than a blank % mass-to-energy conversion rate. The yield will also increase somewhat the longer the slug remains in the barrel. The greatest known yield was achieved when the administrator's 8,900 kilogram personal diesel pickup truck was loaded in its entirety into the muzzle of 44 and fired in the pictured experiment. So they fired a truck and there was a nuclear explosion. I mean, I guess Classifying it as safe due to it not having done anything is okay. And now, the atmospheric converter, which is also somehow safe. 45 is to be kept affixed to an examination platform and hemispherical chamber measuring 5 meters in radius at Oceanographic Research Station 12, located at something on the seafloor of the Pacific Ocean. The chamber is to be kept filled with a gaseous neon at equilibrium pressure with the surrounding environment. The chamber is to be separated from habitable portions of the station by 5 meters of local seawater, and all interactions with 45 are to be performed by a telepresence or robotic means. The bindings that attach 45 to its platform are fitted with quick-release latches, which are to be released when necessary to prevent a containment breach. Given the seismic activity associated with 45, if the containment chamber is damaged or breached by seismological activity, 45 should be recovered by remotely controlled drone vehicles and kept at least 10 meters from human-inhabited spaces until such time as repairs can be completed to the optimal containment chamber. Now then, 45 is a icosahedron composed of ice 13-1, heavily occluded with planar fractures in a regular complex pattern. 45 has an average radius of 1.7 meters and a density of 2.6 grams by centimeters cubed, which is approximately twice that of non-anomalous ice 12. Okay, so first up, let's see what that is. It is a... it's a D20. Huh. I've been wondering what kind of hedron a D20 was. Now I know. Roll icosahedron. SCP-45 remains in a stable state at temperatures ranging from 0.074 to 500 Kelvin, approximately 273 degrees Celsius to 227 degrees Celsius. Oh, negative. And that would be in Fahrenheit, negative 459.4. Okay. And if the boiling point of Celsius is 100 degrees, then 227 is probably terrifying. And pressures ranging from 0.4 pascals to 3 gigapascals, approximately 3.95 microatmospheres to 29,600 atmospheres. I don't even know what the hell that means. Although it is possible to melt or vaporize 0.45 at temperatures and pressures outside of these ranges, the H2O involved is attracted to itself by unknown means and will remain within very close proximity unless forcibly separated. The water will refreeze as soon as conditions are returned to a position inside a 45's stable range, and any sub-portions kept separate prior to refreezing will freeze into smaller T20s identical in form and properties to the total amount of 45. Based on available evidence, it is currently believed that 45 is a three-dimensional projection of this. Okay. Oh, there's footnotes for what the things are. A metastable form of water ice that is typically formed only within a narrow range of very high pressures. A regular polyhedron that exists in 4 spatial dimensions and has 600 regular tetrahedral facets. And then, that. But I'll get to that. Research is ongoing to determine how 45 is able to maintain a stable, lower-dimensional projection, and whether this can be adapted for use when interacting with other dimensionally anomalous SCP items. At unpredictable intervals ranging from 2 weeks to 3 months, 45 will spontaneously rotate around multiple axes. I feel like that's supposed to be axes with an I. Simultaneously for a period no longer than 73 seconds. During this period, a series of small seismic events, greater than 2.5 on the Richter scale, will occur in the immediate area of 45. If 45 is prevented from rotating, the seismic events increase in strength logarithmically to a maximum of 5.3 on the Richter scale. Following the end of the rotation period, the radius of 45's effect will temporarily double for the same amount of time that it rotated. When gaseous nitrogen or argon, which is nitrogen composed approximately 78% of the Earth's atmosphere by volume, argon composes approximately 0.93 of the Earth's atmosphere by volume. When gaseous nitrogen or argon come within 3.7 meters of any portion of 45, they are replaced by different compounds. N2 was replaced by liquid water at a conversion rate of 1.00 mol N2. I don't know what any of this means. All I know is it's saying that nitrogen becomes water and argon becomes table salt. 45 was discovered in 1972 when a Foundation submarine was scouting the Pacific Abyssal Plain for suitable locations for undersea bases. Was diverted to investigate the epicenter of a series of unexpectedly localized strong tremors. 45 was found lodged in a crevice which had apparently prevented it from rotating. When removed from the crevice, it was brought towards the vessel for further study and, upon coming within range of the interior atmosphere, exhibited its anomalous effects. This resulted in a catastrophic breach of internal containment protocols and the loss of 12 crew members prior to 45 being released and the submarine moving out of range. Addendum. Following several years of testing, it was accidentally discovered that 45 also converts hydrogen gas into a random mixture of simple amino acids at a rate of this. However, this conversion only occurs when the gas is diffused in saline water, such as that produced by 45. Analysis of the seafloor surrounding the location where 45 was discovered has revealed a large community of microfauna and microflora that is approximately 3 times as diverse as would be expected given the geography and location. All have biochemistry wherein the amino acids would be expected given the geography and amino acids produced by 45 are statistically overabundant as compared to microbiota from similar geologic regions. Additionally, all thrive when immersed in pure salt water devoid of other organic materials. That was a weird one. And it's only been 20 minutes, so I'm going to keep going. Predatory hollybush. Euclid. Okay, so this bush is Euclid and all that other shit that can, like, melt dimensions. Well, not melt dimensions, but a howitzer that can turn a truck into a nuke, and a D20 that can change elements into other elements are safe. But this plant is Euclid. Alright, let's find out. The land surrounding 46 has been purchased and surrounded by multiple layers of security, including fencing, barricades, and lethal effect traps. Multiple signs marking the area as private property are to be prominently displayed. This area is to be heavily guarded at all times to prevent access by civilians to 46. All personnel working around or within a 50-kilometer radius of 46 are to undergo rigorous medical testing to ensure the absence of any potentially life-threatening illnesses. Additionally, increased mental health examinations are to be administered to ensure that no personnel inclined or potentially inclined towards self-harm or self-destructive tendencies are allowed within 50-kilometer radius. Any injured personnel are to be evacuated to a hospital outside of the 50-kilometer zone around 46. All vegetation surrounding 46 is to be destroyed, and all animals attempting to access 46 are to be terminated and destroyed before reaching its outer perimeter. Damn. Any personnel showing unusual interest in either 46 or in traveling to the region near 46 are to undergo medical examinations as detailed above. Any modification to these containment procedures are to be approved by the O5 command before being added to this containment document. Any personnel attempting to modify this document without appropriate authorization are to be demoted and reassigned. Well, at least they're just demoting them instead of murdering them like everything else. 46 is a predatory botanical mass located in southwestern Kentucky, because of course it's in Kentucky. 46 is composed of 2 parts. 46-1 is a large mass of vegetative matter composed largely of plants indigenous to the region, including Quercus alba, Ilex aquifolium, and Lonicera sempervirens, though several offshoots composed of other plant species are also present. 46-2 is the land in immediate vicinity of 46-1, extending to a roughly circular area 20 meters in radius from its base. This area is 46's primary feeding area. 46 is capable of attracting prey within a 50-kilometer radius through hallucinogenic means. All evacuations of personnel should carry them outside of this radius to disable 46's effect. Animals, including humans, suffering from potentially life-threatening physical injuries or diseases, or who are afflicted by psychological disorders that induce self-destructive tendencies, feel a powerful compulsion to come to 46-2 and lie in a prostrate position facing 46-1. Individuals lying in such a position are rapidly attacked by an unusually powerful combination of saprophytic organisms, and opportunistic infections, including several strains of staph infection, known to include necrotizing fasciitis, also known as flesh-eating bacteria, a form of fungal spore similar to Stachybotrys chartarum, or black mold, which poisons prey organisms and induces paralysis. And finally, complete consumption by several heretofore unknown species of insect that emerged from inside of 46-1 during the final stage of feeding. 46 appears to derive nutrition through the complete digestion of affected individuals, particularly larger mammals known as humans. It is unknown whether 46 is capable of growth. As such, all steps are to be taken to ensure that 46 is deprived of prey till more information is known about its abilities. These efforts are to include terminating individuals prior to their arrival at 46 and disposing of their bodies in a separate location. Addendum 46A. Investigation is ongoing into potential mimetic effects brought about by knowledge of 46 due to anomalous effects demonstrated by certain personnel in response to 46. Access to document 46-7 is restricted to level 4 personnel and above. What is this? It's a separate 46 entry that's safe? The land surrounding 46 is to be cordoned off, marked as private property, and blah 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 blah. Knowledge of its effects is not to be made widely known. Personnel afflicted with life-threatening diseases may be permitted to enter 46-2 after psychological screening for self-destructive tendencies. Likewise, disposable people selected for termination may be exposed to 46-2 to facilitate the process. Due to the lack of threat to Foundation's security, individuals not employed by the Foundation may be permitted to access 46, though Foundation needs for access take priority first. Okay. Description. 46 is composed of two parts. Let me just go back and read again why it's like this. Separate offshoot of 46. Large offshoot of 46. So is this an entry about using it for mind wiping? Anyway. Contains the plant matters. White oak, European holly bush, and Kentucky honeysuckle. Though several offshoots composed of other plant species are present. Effects extend principally to animals, including humans that are threatened by blah 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 blah. Consistently describe... Okay. Individuals who come into 46 consistently describe a dream in which they lie down in the vicinity of 41 and rest. Immediately upon entering 46-2, individuals suffering from chronic pain or traumatic mental conditions will describe their symptoms as receding, accompanied by a feeling of calmness, relaxation, and euphoria. Individuals lying down in front of 46-1 will begin to be covered by several vines similar to runners of that plant, also known as Bermuda grass, followed by the apparent sprouting of Bermuda grass all over the body. 46 has no compulsive properties, and its effects will only manifest on individuals willing to experience the effects voluntarily. Individuals exposed to 46 will remain communicative until they are no longer visible beneath the grass growing across their bodies. All individuals exposed to 46 effects describe a feeling of peace and serenity, and a happiness that they were able to die pleasantly. 46 appears to fully decompose individuals exposed to its effects within 2 hours, and may or may not use the decomposed tissue as a food source. Addendum 1. To be reclassified as Euclid, a primary containment document to be rewritten to demonstrate 46 predatory nature by order of O5 command. Any references to voluntary individuals are to be removed. Description to be rewritten to emphasize volatile and lethal nature of 46 and potential threat thereof. Addendum 46-2. There is no evidence whatsoever that 46 is predatory or has any desire to harm any creature unwilling to expose itself to 46's effects. Suggest original containment procedures be reenacted and voluntary access to 46 continued. No individuals are capable of breaching Foundation security once exposed to 46. As such, there is no reason to deny afflicted individuals the opportunity for relief. Likewise, there is no reason to make this entity seem more hostile than it actually is, aside from a desire to portray every object in Foundation custody as dangerous. Some things must be contained simply because they are strange. Dr. Edward Carter, Head Researcher, SCP-46. Addendum 3. Dr. Carter, Principal Researcher for 46, is to be removed from his position and reassigned to the 1250 Project. Addendum 46-1 stands by order of O5 command. Okay, so it sounds like SCP-46 used to be classified as safe, and then they changed their mind for some reason. Because, oh, okay. It's because O5 was seeing the plant as being a predator, and the guy in charge of it was not seeing it as a predator, and they were like, yeah, no, go away. Okay, microbial mutation. Cheater. Okay, finally we're getting back into some of the nitty-gritty shit. 47 is to be sealed in a 0.5 by 0.5 by 1 meter hermetically sealed storage box at all times. The box is to be locked in storage locker 47A inside P3 secure biohazard lab 47B. Any entrance to and activity inside 47B will be recorded by biometric scan, closed circuit camera, and redacted. Entry to 47B requires the authorization of the project manager in addition to at least one O5 level clearance. Damn! 47 is to be treated as a priority far contagious biohazard in all protocols, including mandatory quarantine if exposed. Suite Q47 has been provided an adjunct to Lab 47B for this purpose. In the event of outside contamination of 47-1, lockdown protocol 47-1 Yersinia must be engaged. 47 is a heavily rusted breech gas cylinder made of an iron blank alloy. When exposed to open air, the material of the cylinder evaporates slowly, producing a previously undocumented mutagenic gas. This gas has no effect on eukaryotic organisms, e.g. humans, but profoundly alters prokaryotes, showing preference for common human microbiota, the natural microorganisms that live on the skin and throughout the body. On rare occasions, these mutations produce a superbug, collectively known as 47-1, a natural commensal with enhanced survivability and therefore opportunistic pathogenicity. I'm probably saying these words so wrong. The pattern of changes induced by 47 suggests that these highly infectious microbes are, at least to some degree, selected for. Although the specifics of 47-1 species are dependent on the base bacterium from which it is derived, there are several characteristics which appear to be generally consistent across all cases of 47-1 mutation, such as enhanced survivability in the bacterium's natural environment and similar environments, full-spectrum antibiotic resistance, increased reproduction rate and consumption of available material, development of a sporulation ability in gram-positive bacteria, increased ability to uptake, hold, and share plasmids, particularly in gram-negative bacteria, and increased transmission due to traits described above. 47-1 samples are normally debilitating and virulent. However, compared to other Keter-class SCPs, it should be noted that 47-1 have a relatively low mortality rate due to their action through mundane biological pathways. Several strains of bacteria have been selectively mutated by 47. Mutation of bacteria in culture is possible, but the process appears to be much more effective with bacteria living on a human host. Generally, mutation of natural commensals for experimental purposes is encouraged. After the containment breach of January 30th, 2011, see Incident Report Yersinia 47-1, let's just open that. Mutation of already pathogenic species is banned and all existing samples must be destroyed. As people scream outside of my house. 3 particular species of 47-1 mutated bacteria are of note due to their involvement in the containment breach of blank blank 2000 blank, which I'm pretty sure why is it censored here but not here? Anyway, this thing I can't pronounce is a strain of this thing I can't pronounce, acne, mutated by 47. Okay, so they were infected with that while having acne, and their faces looks like it's just sort of dying. And then they're supposed to be incinerated. This one looks like it's strep throat. And everyone should be incinerated, and I don't even know what that one's supposed to be. Let's find out what that's supposed to be. It is Stomach problems. Unknown. Developed from tissue culture and has never been exposed to a human. Not known how lethal. Not known how it's transmitted. Not really known how to handle it. Recovery log. SCP-47 was recovered from Site Blank Secure Laboratory at the Foundation Biohazard Recovery Team in response to a full compromise situation on blank 1990-something. Testing logs indicate that the research team was attempting to contain blank to be data expunged in a class blank SCP stable pressure cylinder, which led to redacted combining with redacted. A full molecular biological analysis of this is available in redacted. The initial release of gas when 47 was structurally compromised was sufficient to cause a microbial bloom of uncounted species of 47-1, killing everybody within some hours. Exposed sites somewhere, staff obeyed Foundation quarantine containment protocol, and the infection was contained successfully. Now, what is this incident? Is this incident that it was just talking about? On January the 30th, 2010, at approximately 3 o'clock in the morning, storage locker 47C at Site Somewhere Lab 47B, containing samples mutated by 47, was compromised after a complete simultaneous data expunged, leading to a failure of security measures in the area. 3 samples of a total of 12 were stolen. Data expunged since the initial containment break. Outbreaks of one of the stolen bacteria strains, the acne one, were recorded globally in communities of increasing size and population density. Compromised items: strep throat, stomach 1, acne 1, Siberia, and then Canada, and then South Australia, and then Brazil, and then Iraq, and then wherever the fuck Cameroon is, Sweden. 8th outbreak not recorded, believed to have taken place in North Korea. And then the 9th one was in South Carolina. Reports from blank indicate no further outbreaks are believed likely, but agents are advised to be able to look out for new flare-ups resulting from uncontained civilians in previous outbreak regions. These may continue for years to come due to 47A sporulation. Investigation into the cause of the initial compromise is underway. Anyone with useful information may anonymously contact security via the attached form, which there is not one of. I'm 37 minutes in, but I'm curious about the cursed SCP number. It has no class. The designation SCP-48 is to be retired from the catalog. No SCPs are to be assigned this number. Description: 48 has long been considered the cursed number by staff. Any items given this designation tend to be destroyed, decommissioned, stolen, or otherwise lost to the Foundation, usually through no fault of any individual person. In addition, personnel assigned to SCP-48 in its various incarnations have had a 50% higher rate of turnover due to death, dismemberment, and disciplinary action, the 3Ds. The 3Ds of disposable class. Whether or not the number 48 actually has any supernatural qualities is unknown, but given the superstition around this number, the designation has been removed from the catalog in order to help maintain employee morale. Addendum 1. This is ridiculous. I'll prove to you superstitious bastards that you're all just being pussies. The restriction of 48 is now removed and assigned to data expunged, Dr. Cortez. 48, data expunged, was accidentally thrown into the trash this morning and lost. In an unrelated incident, Dr. Cortez's arms were accidentally traumatically amputated in a horrific lunchroom blender incident. 48 closed. Addendum 3. 48 has been once again removed from the archives after it became highly apparent that no such vampire boat had ever existed, much less come under Foundation control. It is currently believed that this error occurred when a low-level researcher attempted to save his awesome story idea to his hard drive and instead overwrote the blank slot reserved for SCP-48. Said researcher has been removed from any and all archival duties from the time being. Okay, so, this has been episode 15 of Let's Read SCP Foundation Wiki. In the next episode, we're going to start with the Plague Doctor, and we're just going to go until we hit 40 minutes. So, this has been Anachi Sasuke. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. And I'm pretty sure I said my name twice, but oh well. Later!